It recognizes our belief in God, our country, not just individuals, our country, our founding fathers codified this in the documents that founded this country. Our reliance, our belief in God, and our reliance upon God. Of that, there's just no debate on that. You may like it, may not like it. Declaration of Independence, we find these truths to be self-evident, that we are endowed by our Creator with certain inalienable rights, of which are life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness. It goes on in the Constitution to say we are putting together this Constitution in a preamble to secure the blessings, not only for ourselves, for posterity. And that Constitution followed with a Bill of Rights that enumerated those godly rights given to man, including the very first one, which was the right to believe in God and to express that belief anytime, anywhere, including the public square.
33 million. It's proven to the money investors that people want something to feed their souls, not just their worst desires.
Absolutely.
And
yes, indeed.
This kind of sums up my entire dialogue career on the heat of the night. You ready for this? Okay, this is it. My 7 years on the heat of the night. My dialogue all summarized in this. Get right on it, Chief.
Skinner, but Bubba's my name. I like my iced tea sweet and my women the same. I'm your brown-haired badge here in little old Sparta, but nobody's bigger or tougher or smarter. If you're looking to fight, best not be with me. Gonna be held tight, well now we'll just see. You never know in the heat of the night on TNT. Heat of the night on TNT. Now I don't put on any airs, but then I ain't no slob. Just a redneck boy with a blue-collar job. The ladies I date, they gonna have 'em some fun, 'cause I'm a big hunk of crime fighting son of a gun. So if you're looking to fight, come on up in the ring. You wanna be held tight, just about anything can happen in the heat of the night on TNT. Hubba, 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 heat of the night on TNT. Yeah.
It recognizes our belief in God, our country, not just individuals, our country, our founding fathers codified this in the documents that founded this country. Our reliance, our belief in God, and our reliance upon God. Of that, there's just no debate on that. You may like it, may not like it. Declaration of Independence, we find these truths to be self-evident.
This hour of the Alan Autry Show is sponsored by Sinlaw, the most realistic artificial grass in the Central Valley.
From NFL quarterback to Hollywood to the mayor's office, and now behind the mic at KXEX, this is the Alan Autry Show. No retreat.
And so, my fellow Americans, ask not what your country can do for you. Ask what you can do for your country.
Mr. Gorbachev, tear down this wall.
What the hell's going on out here? Everybody's grabbing out there. Nobody. That the only thing we have to fear is fear itself.
Today,
I consider myself the luckiest man on the face of the earth.
I'm not fearing any man. Mine eyes have seen the glory of the coming of the Lord. So 5 seconds left in the game. Do you believe in miracles? Yes! Unbelievable.
You're listening to the Alan Autry Show on the best talk in town. Talk Radio 1550 KLTX.
And welcome to Manic Monday and the old Alan Autry Show. Man, I've missed y'all. A long 4th of July week, but a good week, by and large. Mostly patriotic. There was little outliers, right? Guillermo Moreno here to my right here.
What outliers?
Way to my right. Way over there to my right. Right over there in QAnon land. No, kidding.
There's people that are further right than I am.
Oh God, no.
Yeah.
You're just a normal, everyday, red-blooded Republican conservative.
I am.
Whatever.
With liberal friends. I got a lot of liberal friends.
Which are hard to find because, it's hard to find an old-fashioned, left-wing, old, or even young liberal who believes in free speech.
Yeah, it is tough.
The cornerstone, the foundation of the liberal movement, free speech. You don't believe that anymore. Hey, what a way to start a show.
Yeah, right.
Just to think I almost took one of those 5-hour energies. What if I would have had that at 70 years
not
old?
Have.
Huh?
I did that.
I got a birthday. I would be 71 coming up here.
That's true.
Why am I suddenly talking like an auctioneer? I got home. Give me the 10.
70. What? You don't look a day over.
Don't say it.
68.
Oh, you are just. If you're a mayor for 8 years,
that's so true.
70 is the new 90. If you've seen Dyer lately, he's got a face that's worn out 2 bodies.
Oh, come on.
I love the man. I coach him up from the sidelines. He gets ticked like I did as a quarterback when my coach told me the stuff I didn't want to hear to help make me be a better quarterback. I initially rejected it, like Jerry's doing right now. Good political leadership coaching.
He had hair when you hired him.
He used to take it from me.
Yeah.
Now he responds by text. Excuse me. Let me see the context. Who is this Autry fellow? Context. Let's see.
Did he send you an emoji?
Did I put it under Autry or Doofus? Let me D or A. Oh, right. No, E under enemy. Okay.
Oh, he loves you. You know he does. Does he text you like
There's
emojis?
A strain in the relationship. Never test in emoji.
Never?
Never. I like emojis now. I used to put people down and ridicule people that did emojis. They used to take me off for some reason. I don't know why.
They just felt like emojis feel like they're just not like you're not giving me the time to actually write something out. You're just giving me a face.
Well, that used to be said about email, period. I mean, I think it was Jerry Seinfeld that said the most cold form of communication is email. Text. It means you don't want to talk to you. I don't want to talk to you. I don't want to see you. And I hope this is really the last communication that I have with you.
Yeah.
Well, that's changed.
Do you have a Bitmoji?
Huh?
You have an iPhone.
The
Bitmojis of yourself. Have you made yourself into an? That's what it's called, right, Jeremy? Bitmoji. I don't know, you young kids. Basically,
I'm afraid I'm going to wind up looking like that gal at the gym told me I look like an old, white, middle-aged woman that just bought a yacht. And she said it twice. I'm afraid I'd come out looking like Kate Jenner there. If
we do it,
nothing against Kate. That was not meant to be a jab at Kate Jenner. A conservative trans person, which I want to talk about this tomorrow on Tuesday. Because I genuinely am trying to figure out the trans movement of what is, what's the proper way to look at this thing, to figure this thing out. Not that I'm going to embrace it and say, okay, but I want to be respectful. I'll be respectful to people. Now, that doesn't mean I'm going to go and change my biblical worldview of things.
Yeah.
But I'm going to respect. The Bible says to love all people. I'm going to try to do that. But in Caitlin, here I go into a subject and say, hold on, we'll do it Tuesday. But hold me to that tomorrow.
I will.
And I think a lot of people have thought about this. And let me just do a teaser. Caitlyn Jenner says, I still like women. Sexually. So she transitioned, Bruce Jenner transitioned to Caitlyn Jenner. So in essence, a woman, but still does that make her a lesbian? In the trans world?
I don't know.
Are you a lesbian?
I don't know.
Which tends to make me, hey, there's more, you feel like a woman. According, if you hear Caitlyn Jenner talk, she enjoyed dressing up like a woman when he was Bruce Jenner. He enjoyed that whole world of in the conversations with the ladies. He just felt more at home
Yeah.
in that kind of gender dysphoria world that he was in. But the sexual thing didn't go with him. Because they asked him, are you going to go out and date men? We're getting way off the subject. Listen,
it's important because I think there's states now that you're going to get, I forgot what state, it might be a misdemeanor if you misgender someone intentionally.
If you don't get this right and you're avowed, heterosexual like me and you, and we say the wrong thing.
Well, I want to get it right. I deep down inside, I want to get it right because I don't want someone coming up to me and being like, hey, you
intentionally.
She, and I'm like, well, so I think it's important to respect a person in the form that they want to be respected. I think we're talking about far right. I think sometimes the conservatives really take it a little too far by saying, no, I'm not going to refer to you because I think you're this. I think we should, and we're going to have the conversations, it sounds like, meet somewhere in the middle where you're respectful, because at the end of the day, we're human beings. We want to have a good relationship with everybody else, and we don't want to start it off on the wrong foot. So I think it's,
we're going to talk about education. Exactly. And it's all where your heart is. I don't intentionally want to hurt anybody's feelings on the right or the left. I mean, just to go out to hurt their feelings. We may have very strong debate, heated debate. It might get, when I say something, it's all that I think may be kind of funny or whatever. It's never meant to be, like, you'll never see me go after Fetterman because he can't talk well because of the stroke. Just not me. I'm not going to get on that bandwagon. And there's people out there that think, and locally here, in the strong Republican circles, if you don't jump on that bandwagon, if you don't laugh like you just heard a Seinfeld joke, when they're talking about Fetterman's cognitive disabilities, you're not a good Republican. Well, you can take that and put it where the sun don't shine. I guess in your eyes, I will never be a good Republican. You know what? I don't want to be that kind of Republican. Maybe that's why I'm an independent. I believe in limited government. I believe in strong individual rights, strong national defense, right to life, energy independence, all of those very conservative principles. But the moment I say I don't want to make fun of, in a mean-spirited way, Joe Biden's age or Fetterman's stroke, I'm suddenly a bad Republican. What the hell has happened to you as a party? That's not the party of Reagan. Would never do that. You evoke the Reagan all the time. Reagan would never go after somebody's disability. Yeah, you want to put Reagan out, slap Reagan's name right out of your mouth, like pull up Will Smith on you. Don't you evoke Reagan while you're laughing at Fetterman's
That's a good point.
Physical demise?
That's a very good point. Same thing with Joe Biden. Same thing with Joe Biden.
Yeah, you can make a few. Yeah. He makes age jokes. And you know the difference, folks.
Yeah.
You know the difference when you hear a mean-spirited dig and unfeeling comment about Joe Biden's age or Fetterman or Nancy Pelosi's age, and you turn around, the left is just as guilty as this. And when they see somebody down, you want to kick them. And you know the line that goes across. But I'm like you. It's, and then we're going to talk about schools in the second half of the show, where I get, in terms of being referred to, if a kid comes up, if I was a teacher and our coach, and one of the Billy Jones, that's his name. That's Billy. He registered in Jewish school as Billy. Parents registered as Billy. And Billy comes up to me and says, Coach, I want you to refer to me as Tree. Call me Tree. Well, Billy, your name's Billy. Yeah, but I want to be called Tree. Well, I got to respect your parents because they named you Billy. So I'll have to talk to your parents and see if it's okay for me to refer to you as Tree. Because I don't want to get call them and say, hey, I got some good news or bad news about Tree. And they say, who are you talking about? What are you doing calling my son Tree?
Yeah, that's a good point.
It's like, well, that thing with your transition, and you come forth in this fourth grade or third grade, and you tell a teacher, I'm no longer a boy. I don't want you to call me Sam. I want you to call me Susan. And you say, okay, right on the face of it, I'm going to call you Susan. And by the way, I'd like to begin the process of changing my sexual orientation. Oh, great. We'll get right on that. And there's not like, hey, I'll call the parent first. That's what people have a problem with. Whether you're Republican, Democrat, Independent, like I am, that's where you have to, no, bridge too far. Talk to the parent. The parent says, okay, you can call Sam Susan. I will call Sam Susan.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, absolutely.
But you get lumped in this stuff, and DeSantis, and that's simply what that "Don't Say Gay" bill, which didn't ever say "Don't Say Gay" in Florida, was all about. It was just keeping parents in control of this situation with very, very young kids making these life-changing decisions. Hey, like I said, we're going to speed this along. We're not going to take a break just yet because we're going to bring Armando Montero in here, the vice principal at a wonderful school called Sierra Charter School. Really excited about that segment. But I was thinking, sometimes I do that. Sometimes I do. I was thinking the other day, there seems to be all this controversy on what would happen to the country if something happened to Joe Biden, and he couldn't fulfill his duties. Then you got Kamala Harris, who most people think would be a disaster, not quite of the Hindenburg politically type thing, but real close, that the country could not withstand this kind of ineptitude. And this is borne out by polls of Democrats and Republicans, right? Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah.
But I mean, here,
I think
the lowest approval rating for any vice president in history.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
It's abysmal. I think it's overstated, though. I don't believe that she would utterly fail, but I could see how people could say.
Well, you got a separation of government there, and you got a Republican-controlled Congress, right? I mean, House, which could put a check on some of the nonsense. But in terms of leadership, navigating how long you stay in the war with the Ukraine war, with the expansion of nuclear weapons, China opened up a spy base in Cuba, inflation still raging, the border out of control. She would struggle. She would struggle.
Absolutely.
But
I think anybody would.
Let me put something and get your opinion, whether there's something very important being overlooked here in this Kamala Harris disaster discussion. If, by the scenario, which you think is a very plausible scenario, is Donald Trump gets the nomination, and gets elected, okay? You only got 4 years with him.
Yeah.
So is not his vice presidential pick extremely important? Because if he is successful, more than likely those who are handicapping the race in what would be 2028, I think.
Yeah, 2028.
Would make his vice president the front runner for the presidency. So when you're looking at
with an asterisk.
Right.
Yeah.
But you do a little prescient thinking there, look ahead a little bit. And I think, wow, that's being lost in the discussion here. You got to look at the vice presidential pick, Trump's pick, as the next president. Now, I don't think they're being looked at as that. That they're looking at it as a VP only for 8 years and probably go by the way of Mike Pence or whatever. No. 4 years, you can't run more than 4 years. Well, I mean, Franklin Delano Roosevelt did it.
Yeah.
Well, what do you think about that? To me, it really changes my thinking.
That's always been there. I guess I really haven't put that much emphasis on it until now that you're really mentioning it. You're right. Both of these men, we're looking at them, but they're only going to serve a very, very short term when you really think about it. Because I mean, the first 2 years are the only ones you can get done, and then midway, everyone's already looking at it. Everyone's looking at it. So the reason why I say there's an asterisk with Donald Trump's running mate is because as long as that person does everything he tells them to do during the first 2 years, they will be the anointed. They'll be the prince of the MAGA movement, or very true, or princess of the MAGA movement. I really believe that Donald Trump, and we were just talking about age at the beginning of the program, I really believe that Donald Trump realizes that he's got an expiration date, and I don't think anyone has really delved into that conversation. I think Donald Trump just wants 4 years because that's all he can have, and after that, he still wants to be in the background, but the heir to the MAGA movement is going to be whoever that man chooses. So you're absolutely right. I mean, this has got monumental, consequential implications.
Which brings up this question. I want you to take on this. If you're thinking about what's best for the country, I defy you to find any candidate, even if you can empirically prove that by their actions they don't give a rat's behind about America. They're going to say, I have to think about the country, the health of the country, the freedom of the country, put the country first. If you buy that for a second, that those who say that mean it, and those in both parties which embrace that, we're making these decisions. We're going after trying to put Trump in jail to preserve the rule of law because it's right for the country. We're trying to keep Trump out of jail and all of this miscarriage of justice because it's bad for the country. This is happening there. But if you buy that scenario, would it not indicate
and point to an uneasy but very important and probably logical alliance between Trump and DeSantis, that if you put that ticket together, they may not like each other, but for the good of the country, you say, let's combine forces here. I can bring things to the table. I've already shown, this is DeSantis, where I can bring a lot of those independents feel more comfortable with me. They know in 4 years they're gonna have me, and for the next 4 years, I'm gonna be in your ear trying to check in your tweets here, and I can put up with Donald Trump for 4 years if I have somebody like DeSantis, or you may have some, another candidate that you think that they would say, the independents would say, okay, I feel comfortable, more comfortable at least, with that ticket. Would DeSantis and Trump ever entertain that thought of coming together?
Oh,
Obviously,
I think, yeah, absolutely. I think
DeSantis being the VP, which
for sure. I wouldn't surprise me if the campaigns have spoken already about it, because the DeSantis campaign is just fluttering. Let's be real. I mean, that thing is just going nowhere in a hurry. He's not catching up to Donald Trump as much as he needs to. And listen, campaigns are very long, and man, they can just change like Midwest weather. We always joked in the Midwest, you don't like the weather, just wait 10 minutes.
Yeah.
So I mean, there's a lot of nuances. However, Ron DeSantis has shown me that he is more of that establishment type of candidate, the Jeb Bush, the Bushes. He's that type of candidate where I don't think he's got the pizzazz. He doesn't have the pizzazz. He doesn't have the ability to turn this ship around. So for me, I think DeSantis he's not going to be the vice presidential candidate, I don't believe, unless Donald Trump says, you know what, DeSantis, it's okay. I like you. Even though you don't like me, I like you. I think the reality is, I think we're heading down a Tim Scott road. Just by what you're seeing in the background, just by you're seeing Donald Trump be very complimentary to Tim Scott and not so much to Ron DeSantis, I think the ingredients are already there.
I like that.
And listen to this. I honestly
believe I'd be more comfortable with DeSantis, but Scott. That's an interesting point. I think Tim Scott would be ready after 4 years to be president.
Oh, I think he would. Now Donald Trump's not going to think about this too long, and he doesn't think about it in the sense of what's best for I don't think he's going to look at it in the sense of what's best for the country. Which guy do I like better? I think it's going to be all about loyalty. I think it's going to be all about, hey, which guy can I trust to have my back? In reading Mike Pence's book, when he got selected, the way Donald Trump did it was he did it at just off the whim. He did it. He met him. He met his family, and he got a good vibe. So we already know that Donald Trump is a good measure of character in the sense of well, actually, I guess not, because I guess everybody on his staff in the White House quit pretty. All right, so I take that back. But Donald Trump's going to do it on a whim, on who he feels most comfortable with, not who he feels might be the best for the country. And
Don't you think, though, he needs a political calculation that pencils out?
Yeah, Ron DeSantis doesn't. Okay. Ron DeSantis is not going to help him with independence. Nobody. Nikki Haley, Tim Scott will help him.
And Tim Scott, it doesn't take much of a defection, percentage-wise, from the black community over to Trump to win the election. Yeah. So if you counterbalance that, and you think Scott can deliver that, that's a very good choice.
Yeah. Or it could be someone we're not even talking about. What if he decides, listen, I need him. I need a candidate. And let's just say Tim Scott makes him mad at the first debate. And there goes bye-bye Tim Scott. Nikki, everyone gets him really upset. He could pull hey, let me go choose Marco Rubio.
The
Latino.
I think that card's been taken out of his hands, because I think for the first time, as tragic as it is, I think for the first time, Donald Trump really believes there's a good chance he could go to prison. And that changes your whole calculation. Then it becomes, I may not like that guy, but can they help me win the election? John F. Kennedy didn't really like Lyndon Johnson.
Very true.
He did not. Robert Kennedy detested Lyndon Johnson. In fact, they went round and round, John and Robert Kennedy, about the pick. But JFK, in his political wisdom, said, I need him to get Texas. And I need the other states that he can bring forth, because Dwight Eisenhower left a very popular president, and Dick Nixon was a very popular vice president. This was a real upset. He needed to get, every vote he could. When it came down to it, he had to make a pact with someone he really didn't like. So normally in the first go round, I would have said you're right. But I think right now there's a whole new set of dynamics facing Donald Trump that he didn't face.
Yeah.
And now it's like, what is the scenario? What is the construct that allows me the best chance of getting elected? And hopefully there's people around him that are wise enough to see that, because I like your Tim Scott choice. I don't think DeSantis would accept the VP. I wish he would. If he doesn't, but still, like you said, something seismic could happen during the debates. And Trump is no longer a spring chicken. He knows he can't do the same routine that he did in 2016.
Yeah.
About that, he's almost 80.
I think he's going to be looking for backup.
Yeah, he
more
needs
so
somebody
now.
that can go out there and. Well, listen, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we have Armando Montero with us. Remember that name. He is a very talented principal at Sierra High School, Charter High School, one of the best high schools around. I'm going to talk to you about a very important subject, the state of affairs in high school education. We'll be right back.
California grass.
You know, the four-year, when it's kind of, all right, here's the VP candidates. But wait a minute, if Trump does win, man, like you mentioned it great, you go into lame duck status within 18 months.
Yeah.
Within 18 months, you're.
I still don't think. I don't think Joe's keeps calm. I think there's going to be an opportunity for him to dump her. Come on in.
You don't want to stay in?
No. It's up to you. I don't mind being in the background flying the plane.
Oh, you're going to fly the plane. Gotcha. Fly the plane. The plane. All right, here, my brother. A little mic check. Yeah. Looking good. How's that car, your sister's car doing? Did it do much damage?
Well, they got it fixed up and stuff, and they're not parking it over where she's living anymore, just to be a little bit secured. But
how did they get it?
Well, she has a Kia, and apparently there's this new fad going around where these kids are stealing Kias.
Yes, that is.
So
the Kia boys.
That's right. Yeah. So they've been. I mean, she's I guess one of many victims of having her vehicle.
It really shakes you up.
It bothered her a lot. That I think more than getting the vehicle fixed, it was just kind of helping her feel a little bit more comfortable and helping her realize, like, hey, this is some youngsters doing some dumb stuff. Hopefully, they don't have to hurt anybody. But who knows? I mean, hopefully, they get a grasp on this quicker rather than later.
Yeah, it's not.
How are you doing?
Doing good. The commercial is running here constantly. Got a new one for you. I think you're gonna like it. It's shorter. It's
awesome.
Starts out with, you have a child who's struggling in high school, maybe so much so that you're struggling with, I'm paraphrasing here. Yeah. So
1 minute?
1 minute, okay. Sounds good. I'll just send it to you.
All right.
We'll record it. Now, are you officially the principal?
Not yet. I'm still part of the leadership team.
Okay,
Ms. Morosco will be taking over. She'll still be on this next year. The year after that, the plan is.
So you mean refer to you as the head of the leadership team?
Yeah, part of the leadership.
30 seconds.
Look at the prime energy trends.
10 seconds.
Oh, prime. Oh, that's amazing.
Oh, yeah, that's that new product.
5 seconds.
This hour of the Alan Autry Show is sponsored by Simlaw, the most realistic artificial grass in the Central Valley.
And welcome back to Manic Monday. Old Alan Autry here. So honored and humble to have you with us, as I am every day. Appreciate you all so much. I've told you this so many times. I've done a lot of fun things in life. Been blessed to play a little pro football, and that was fun sometimes, but not when your line's not blocking and you're a quarterback, and with minimal skills. But I had fun doing that, doing the movie business, serving the city of Fresno. But I have never had more pure fun and enjoyment than I have in this 1 hour we get to spend with each other, 12 to 1 most days, live. And I choose to do it live. Sometimes I have to record, or just something about the live thing that gets me going. So I just appreciate every single one of you who tune in, whether it's old-fashioned, old-school radio, which is still great, or on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, whatever. Just appreciate you so much. And I also appreciate our next guest, Mr. Armando Montero. Welcome, Armando.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Hey, man, we got the better end of that deal. Armando is one of those folks who decided and heard the calling to get into education to help our kids get through school, get that diploma, which still remains the greatest path towards success. Don't let anybody tell you don't need education.
That's right.
I mean, that's the biggest lie. You talk about the big lie, this whole thing going around, you don't need school. Yes, you do. Trust me, you will regret it if you don't finish, especially your high school diploma. That's that first step that catapults you into a path to a better life. But Armando, you're at a wonderful school called Sierra Charter School.
That's right.
And you were on the show before, but some folks did not tune in that day or what have you. But give me a little bio of where how you came up through the ranks and get us to Sierra Charter School. Then we'll jump off at that point and start talking about the state of education today and why Sierra Charter School, I feel, and many feel, is one of the greatest opportunities for kids to get through school, get that diploma, and get on to college or life.
Yeah, thank you, Alan. You were a big part of that. Mentorship really helped me on this path. But many, many years ago, early in my adulthood, I decided to join the U.S. military. Left the military in 2013, and then was looking for mentorship, trying to find what the next part of my life was going to consist of. And through mentorship, found myself being a janitor at a local court and community school, where students who were coming from the juvenile justice system were transitioning back to their normal school. And through that process, I got to see what education was about from that perspective. And so through mentorship, I started my education, got my associate's bachelor's, and got my teaching credential and became a teacher really quickly thereafter. And then went over to Sierra Charter School and was there for a while as a teacher, then high school counselor, and here I am, part of the leadership team. So.
Okay. Now, I think it's an understatement to say that education today, post-COVID, K through 12, the collegiate situation, I haven't heard as much data from because you're older, more mature, but it certainly had a big effect on college-age students as well, negatively. No real positive came out of it other these kids staying home. In some cases, school was the only safe place for some of these kids. You'd think it'd be just the opposite.
Right.
But it's a disaster by every measure, and we're starting to find that out. In a post-COVID world, trying to sort this thing out and get kids engaged back in school. Tell us, because I know personally we've talked, you're a big fan. You're not going to hear Armando criticize, lambast the public school system, private, homeschool. That's not him. It's about what works. Right. And one size does not fit all. Am I correct?
That's correct.
You and your feelings? And at Sierra, they're willing team members with the public school system, with charters, with the homeschool, whatever. They just want to help kids. And a lot of people say that, but I've visited the school. I know the people there now. And you folks at Sierra Charter School, it is not just a commitment. It's a commitment you're determined to keep when the going gets tough with the kids. So tell us some of the, first of all, some of the challenges that we're facing in the post-COVID world. Then let's talk about what Sierra Charter is doing to address those challenges.
Yeah, so I think when you think about the post-COVID world of education, you have to consider pre-COVID, right? And what things were really at the forefront of challenges for schools, getting students to school. Attendance has become an issue. Enrollment's become an issue. I mean, students before COVID had a particular set of things that they were trying to overcome, and COVID just exacerbated everything. I mean, it just made it really tough for students. And I know
if they didn't want to go to school to begin with, they really didn't want
to. That's right.
Because they got to stay on good.
That's right. And so I know every school out there was trying to figure out, along with us, how do we get these kids to become engaged in school, motivated? Like that is the big question. How do we do that post-COVID? Because like I said, it exacerbated everything. So from our perspective, we knew we had to look internally and kind of find out what we could do to help these kids become engaged and motivated, and meeting after meeting trying to figure out what we could do. And at the end of the day, we realized we have to continue doing what we do well and continue talking to students and families and getting information from them on what they need from our school in order to feel like they're a part of the school and get them motivated on a goal. And that's something your organization does really well. And we're really glad to be partnering with you because you guys are a huge part of why we've seen so much success thus far.
Now, it seems to me, well, thank you for that. We're honored that Legacy Education, it's a nonprofit I started a while ago, and just the mentors that serve every day. I just kind of oversee things, although we're pretty excited about an acting and visual arts opportunity that we'll talk about later here that I'm going to be actively involved in. Really excited about that, to get there to actually, my old bag of bones, getting to work there with the kids. I'm really looking forward to that. But in what you mentioned in terms of the challenges, I kept hearing one word come into my head: communication.
Yes.
There seems to be a big communication challenge coming out of COVID with the parents and the kids.
That's right.
And you hear the phrase social emotional learning. You hear the Governor Newsom talking about that. They're seeing the data is showing that these kids' social emotion, meaning how to deal with one another, how to deal with life socially and emotionally. How do I navigate that and live that out without having the emotional part of it wreak havoc with my mind and my nerves and that sort of thing. And through that, learn social emotional learning. Is that a pretty good apt explanation of one of the big challenges facing is getting through to these kids and communicating, where they get off of this? Certain things you can't text.
Right.
You can't look in the eyes of a text. You can say, I care about you through text.
Right.
A lot different looking into you. And I've seen you with kids. I've seen your gift that you have with these kids. Whether it was at Violet Hines or there at Sierra, they respect you. There's a comfort when they look in your eyes, when they see your physical flesh and body there you can see that tension start to come out, even when you're disciplining.
Right.
Even when you're disciplining. And is that part of what you're bringing back? Because I know at Sierra you have a hands-on philosophy, being there with the kids actually doing what is with your labs, with your talk a little bit about how important communication is at Sierra and what you're instituting there to improve.
Yeah, so you hit the nail on the head. I mean, communication has really been the one thing. I mean, it's a pillar of what can help us make a difference with these students. And communication from teacher to student, teacher to family, getting a hold of parents and talking with parents, they can tell you what they feel is going on with their student, right? And so the communication with parents has been, and even social media is sometimes an issue with that communication. But students live in a day and age, we live in a day and age where we have to realize social media has had such a profound impact on our society, particularly our students. And so when you're trying to communicate with these students, their window for attention is very small now. They're used to that instant gratification, instant communication, and social media, and that's where their world is. Now, I really appreciate you talking about how we do things a little bit different at Sierra Charter. We really try to emphasize that communication and the mentorship. Thank you so much for talking about what you've noticed for me and the way that I talk with students. I learned a lot of that from you. But just talking with students and having mentors and people in my life that did the same thing for me, I realized you got to get this thing out of the way. You got to get it out of the way.
It shouldn't be the primary source of communication, correct?
Right. And
when you're trying to help kids.
Absolutely. And when you can get a student away from that for a few minutes, or you can give a student that time away from that and kind of just have that one-on-one, students will revert back to who they're supposed to be without social media, right? They'll come back.
And this is true with the whole staff. You have a tremendously gifted staff at Sierra Charter School. I can't say that name enough. You're going to hear it a lot. Because you know what? I will not support something I don't believe in. I was offered a lot of money from Alpha Night to endorse a beer. Well, I didn't want to be a part of encouraging somebody to drink. I have nothing against somebody having a beer, but it wasn't who it was, and I would have felt not right endorsing. I've seen what they're doing. I'm a part of what they're doing there at Sierra. The reason I'm part of it is I believe wholeheartedly in what they're doing there. And your whole staff, I would say top to bottom, but I don't know if there is a bottom there. It seems like you all work as a team. You're right beside each other. You don't kind of know, well, there's the big kahuna, Armando Montero, or the principal, and here's one of the teachers. You all walk around as a team, and the students see that.
Right.
And that's an extremely rare thing. And don't kids, have you seen that once you get that one-on-one human contact, it's like I've never seen one kid not open up eventually.
Yeah.
Initially, they may be very intimidated, but it's like, man, I never knew this. It was like me. I kept hearing my buddy telling me, because I never liked burritos. I like tamales. I like tacos. Listen to that.
I like them all.
The burrito. The guy kept telling me, you got to try this full fancy burrito, Bobby Salazar's.
Yeah.
Full fancy burrito. Okay, I will. Never. Several years. So I'm in Bobby Salazar's one. And I said, I'm going to try this by myself. Order the full fancy chili con carne, full fancy with chili verde, green sauce on top, just like he told me to get.
Yeah.
I took a bite of that. I went, oh my goodness. I never knew how good that was.
Right.
And a lot of these kids are like that. When I'm not going to try that. I don't know if I want to go in and talk to that person. I feel uneasy. I feel uncomfortable. Then they get a taste of that one-on-one relation with somebody who really cares about them.
Right.
That's there with them, looking at them and help guide them, help them navigate not only the challenges of life, but the opportunities of life. Right. And I just see that as such a part of what Sierra does there. That technology, you bet, you guys, top tier technology. This stuff, you're not going to throw it out the window and go back to pencils and pencils and things. So at Sierra Charter, because I want to get this, is there some folks you would like to point out, call out, and just give them a girl, had a boy deal there? I know if you leave somebody out, you get into big trouble.
Yeah, I'm not going to do that.
Okay, this is the whole team. All right,
I'm not going to do that. And I appreciate you talking about our culture there, Sierra. We're really proud of it, and I wish I could say that I was a part of that. We try our best, the leadership team, to establish a culture there of that. But our teachers, really, it just comes from our teachers doing the work, boots on the ground. The relationships they build with their students, the way that they work with the families, it's organic. It's the smaller class sizes that we provide that really give teachers an opportunity to get to know their students.
Let me ask you this. Why do you think, because I've seen this at 15 years old, in some cases, in a growing number of cases, you're getting parents reluctant to engage with the school when their kids are struggling.
Right.
Do you have any theory on why that is? Back in my day, if a kid was 30, parents they went to the PTA, they went to the teachers. Go ahead.
Yeah. I think there's a lot of factors. Some I won't get into. Some of the socioeconomic stuff, and then of course the family dynamics in their homes. Families really, with teenagers, especially now, high school students, it's getting rough. I mean, this social media has really created a monster, and a lot of students are lost. We're in a world now where depression, anxiety, and mental health is at all-time high, and families are tired. They're really tired. It's really difficult to raise a teen. And if there's any families out there listening, they're probably saying, oh gosh, yes, he's right. Because we see it every single day. We have families coming to our school and saying, we need help. We don't know what to do. And so I think in education, we're fighting that battle.
See, that's my point. Yeah. I think there is a perception out there of many parents that a school interacting with the school or talking with the school is going to somehow add to the load. That it's going to be, they're going to be blamed. Parents can be blamed for everything, and that's simply not the case. Right. I'll use Sierra Charter as an example. They understand the pressures that you're under, and I have lost track. I can give you story after story about when I went to home visit, because I like to home visit.
Oh yeah,
I like to go in there, and sometimes it's difficult. You got barking dogs. You got like a fortress trying to get in there to the home, but that even makes me want to get in there even more.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And when you can make it through there and you sit down. More times than I can recall, when I sat down with the parent and said, look, first of all, let's get two things out. Number one, we think the world of your kid. Everybody goes through problems. Everybody gets by. Everybody needs help.
Yep.
And here, you're not alone. We're here to help you with that load. If we can work together, your load will be lightened a little bit. And they have broken down in tears. A lot of grandmas.
Yep.
I've seen grandpas, parents as well. But you see a lot of situations where kids are being raised by a grandma or grandfather. And just to know that somebody's there that cares and understands. And that has been the initial breakthrough to some amazing things that happen with those kids.
Absolutely.
Because all you ask them is, look, here's what we're going to be working with your child.
Right.
Just help us enforce it at home.
Right.
And if they refuse to, okay, that's you deal what you have to deal with here. But you need to know what we're doing here. And and if we're as a team, we have a better chance to get your child or grandchild through this difficult journey called high school and get that diploma. Because kids in high school now, they're facing with this thing here, the online bullying, the the social media stuff, just a crazy world after post-COVID where everyone went around looked like Hannibal Lecter, scaring people to death that if they went and saw grandma, they were going to kill her. And all of these fears with this kid. There's another condition that we found that's reared its head, which I think Sierra Charter is uniquely equipped to address because of its size and your system, is the subject of loneliness. Yeah. We're seeing these kids, it doesn't matter how many friends they have online, Facebook, it doesn't, or Twitter, or Instagram.
Right.
They just feel lonely.
And that's a hard part too. Is especially in the economy you live in, California, you need two incomes. A lot of these families have two incomes, and so students are at home by themselves. Their really only interaction socially is on video games or social media, which is super unhealthy. I mean, I think we can all agree that that's something that we don't want to be at the forefront of where our students are communicating with one another. They need that face to face, like you said, is so important. And I think that's what's become so difficult, is that because parents have to be in the workplace, it's really difficult for these students, these teens, and they do get lonely, and they try to find ways to interact with others, and unfortunately, a lot of times it's on a negative platform.
Yeah, and it's counterintuitive as well. You would think, okay, I'm going to send my kid who's struggling with loneliness to school with lots of kids, 2,000 kids. Joey and Maria, she's going to find somebody there that they click with. And I can understand that reasoning. When I was coming out of high school, I almost came home because I was so lonely. Yet nobody wanted to get out of the fields, or I was working worse than I did. Here was my full ride education in sports. I almost gave it away because I was so lonely. That was at a school with 7,500 students at UOP. If I would have went to Stanford or USC, UCLA, they would have recruited me. There's no telling what would have happened there. I would have been lost in that. But at UOP, I was able to get through that first semester, and because of there was only 15 kids in the classroom compared to like 300 at UCLA and Stanford. So he had a 15-to-1 ratio. I saw the same kids over and over and over again, because of the size. And I think that's an advantage of Sierra. How many students are at Sierra Charter?
It differs year to year, but we average around 400 to 600 students.
See, you will see a kid will go there, and it's like living in a small town.
Right.
You get to know everybody, and some kids need that. And nothing against, I love Roosevelt. I love Fresno High. I love Central. I love Clovis North. I love Buchanan. But that's not always the best place for some kids to prosper.
Right.
Correct?
Yeah, and we can talk on and on about all the issues that are driving this, specifically the loneliness, right? And students, the uncomfortability they have socially. But for us, I think at Sierra Charter, we really try to emphasize facilitating that process. We really want students to feel comfortable when they come to Sierra Charter School. And so whether it's the Legacy Club that we have every single weekday during lunch, when they can come and meet one another, and Heather from Legacy kind of walks them through getting to know each other.
Have fun, do it.
Games, funds, and we facilitate that process. We have mentorship. You guys brought mentorship onto our campus and have helped us so much in that area that we try to duplicate what you guys do. And so we have students, seniors, who are coming in, and they're going to mentor the juniors, because you got to think about it. Some of our 11th grade students, they've gone through 2 years of COVID. So they lost out on 2 years of social skill building. So we emphasize that at Sierra Charter School also. In order to graduate, you got to go through a set of classes that we have in our curriculum that's going to build social skills, get you prepared for the real world, and help them by the time they're seniors at Sierra Charter School. As you saw at our graduation, these kids are hugging each other. They have amazing relationships. The staff, and that's at every school. I know that's a priority at every school, is to build these lines of communication in those relationships. But for us, we really try to emphasize making sure when a student steps on our campus, they make a friend, and they see us as a mentor, and it's somebody they can go to if they need anything.
Yeah, and as I said, folks, you just feel that when you walk on campus. It's right off the bat from the person who works the front desk, and I'm drawing a blank because I'm old. She's just a great smile. I've been there when
Miss
parents
Sandra?
have come in. Yes, thank you. She's wonderful. Right off the bat, you get this welcoming vibe, for lack of a better word there. And it's really something special, because you have this on your website, but you really walk the talk. You walk the web, if I will. is, you learn algebra, you got all these tough subjects for some, for many, math, science, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
But you also strive to try to make these very difficult subjects fun.
Yes.
Well, how do you do that? Well, you can have fun doing everything if you just try going, how can we work with this and make it more fun? I know you're going to, it's a tough subject, and that, having the legacy one thing there, but you guys had good things going at Sierra Charter long before legacy got there.
Yeah.
And we're just adding to what was already working there.
Yeah.
Because you had mentoring, that mentoring mission with every teacher, at least that I met at Sierra Charter, had
Absolutely.
that mentoring aspect.
When I walk through the classrooms or we're having our teachers collaborate on the curriculum or instructional strategies to help students engage more and buy into the content, our teachers are constantly working on ways to have this content be relatable to students. So you can't do that unless you're getting to know your students. So you walk into our classrooms at the beginning of the year, teachers aren't having conversations about curriculum. They're having conversations about who the kids are, who their families are, what they're into, what the background in their culture, things that they enjoy. It's not outside the norm to have, an event at the school where they're talking about those types of things, and so that's really important, and that gets buy-in from students, so that's why you feel that type of culture at our school.
I would advise folks that are listening out there, if you have I'm biased, but I'm biased for a reason, because I really believe in this school. I believe in the people, because a school is just a school until you put a staff in there with teachers and you put kids in there.
Right.
Then that's when you find out what that school is made of. And you've been around for 25 years.
25 years.
Helping kids get through school and get kids graduated.
That's right.
And I know there's people listening right now, parents may have a kid who's really struggling in school, may have gotten behind. Parents who have grandkids that are facing that same situation, struggling with school, or you have a friend who has a child. And the struggle might be so serious at this point that you might be on the verge of being hopeless. That you think, we've tried everything. My kid doesn't seem motivated. So far behind in credits. I'm losing hope. Well, I'm here to tell you, don't lose hope. Don't give up. Don't lose that hope, because there is hope. That hope is called Sierra Charter School. And if you don't go to Sierra Charter School, just do your homework and find another charter school, research it, and get your kid there, because they can do certain things in charter schools that public schools can't. I'm not against public schools. I'm a big believer. Public schools saved my life. Moved 6 times in 5 years. I have no axe to grind. But I do know one size doesn't fit all. And kids are facing a whole slew of issues coming at their mind, coming through their mental health, their spiritual health, physical health, that it's probably the toughest era that we've ever had in the United States to get through high school. To get through that and get that high school diploma. That high school diploma, don't let anybody kid you, it's still extremely important. The statistics prove it. Over 80% of the people who are making over $80,000 a year have a high school diploma. You can flip side that, and I don't mean to scare people, but whatever it takes, you go to the prison population, less than 40% of the people in prison have a high school diploma. Most of them can't read it at grade level. It's just still an indicator of success in life, having that high school diploma. And like I said, don't panic. If you have a kid, and if you have a kid also that's doing well, they may be doing, but you just sense that they need a change of scenery. They think maybe a smaller situation would do them better. Take a look at Sierra Charter School. I encourage it. I stake my reputation on it. I believe in this school. I believe in the people who run it. I believe in their mission, so much so that I'm devoting no matter what in my life, as long as I can move around, I'm going to be spending time there with this acting and visual arts class as part of the academics class. It's inextricably connected. And if you want to know more of why we feel that way, then you need to let's give the number and the website of how do we get in touch, folks get in touch with Sierra Charter School.
Well, I think you can go to sierracharterschool.com, but
is it .com or .org?
I believe it's .com. Yeah, .com. if they need to get a hold of me, I mean, give me a call. I'd love to sit down and talk to you about our school, what we offer, and how we can be of assistance. And you can reach me directly at 559-476-3411.
Okay, we're going to do that real slow. Do it like old Autry would do
All
it.
right.
Real slow, Grandpa.
All right.
All right.
You can reach
Jot
me.
this down. Write this down.
Yeah, you can reach me at 559-476-3411.
And it's Armando Montero. Remember that name. Armando, we just got a couple of minutes left here. Any, at least for today, we want to, in fact, on this show, and then we want to give a shout out to Guillermo Moreno. He's all on board for Sierra Charter and the mission they have there. We're going to have a program for kids where they can learn how to podcast. They can learn how to be an influencer. Every one of these kids that want to be an influencer. Don't kid yourself. That's the big thing. It's what you're influencing.
That's right.
What are you putting forth? Well, at Sierra High School, we're going to make sure that they want to, that in their heart, they want to be an influencer for good, for positive things, and teach them the mechanics of how to do that, how to communicate that. So that's going to be part of the curriculum as well. And part of that fun stuff we talk about that goes along with the fun of learning math, of a nice isosceles triangle, of science, all the stuff that I really look forward to. And God bless those students that love that. And more power to you, and I admire you so much that those subjects really do interest you. But there's some that, hey, they need a little help to go through that and get the passing grades. So any final thoughts there, Armando?
Yeah, I just want to challenge.
For today.
Yeah. I definitely want to just challenge the public. Come and check us out. Even if your student's at an established school and you feel comfortable where they're at. And I'm not just talking to families. I'm also talking to administrators. Visit our school. Let's communicate. Let's collaborate.
That's a good point.
We're battling a huge enemy right now with social media and some of the things that are out there affecting our students. Let's work together to find a solution. Regardless of where our students go to school, we want to make sure they're safe everywhere.
And let me tell you about this young man to my right. He walks the talk. As I know for a fact, they were working with a kid. They have kids that, hey, it works at Sierra Charter School, but the number one thing is getting this kid through high school, getting the kids through high school by any means necessary. And they just referred a couple of kids to another school that they're working with. Why? Because they felt, you know what? It might work better over here. They have this over there. We have stuff that they don't have. Those other schools need to communicate and care about the kid first.
That's right.
And if you do that, I think you're going to see a revolution in education that the kids are truly going to benefit from.
Absolutely.
And you can be a pioneer at Sierra Charter in that regard. I think you already are. Armando Montero, thank you, buddy. Folks, love you so much. God bless you. God bless America. And just remember, do your best and let God do the rest. That's all he expects of you. That's all you should expect of yourself. Bye-bye now. Love y'all.